Welcome to Freedom Forest, guys, the 3-acre edible oasis that we're creating here in the south of England, where we like to try lots of new things and push the boundaries with what we can grow using permaculture and no-dig methods. Absolutely no chemicals, weed killers or synthetic fertilisers, just what nature provides. For today's video, I would like to pay some serious respect to the Brassicas, and that's all of your kales, your broccoli, your cauliflower, your Brussels sprouts, your heading cabbages and heaps more. I was in here the other day having a really good tidy up, and it dawned on me the value that we get from this space and from these plants. We literally have greens from this area all year round. And often when people ask us if they've only got a small growing space, what is the best thing to grow, I would nearly always recommend growing some kind of loose leaf greens. And that doesn't have to be kales, it can be lettuces and spinach and things like that. But really, they are one of the best value plants you can get. And what a lot of people don't realise, unfortunately, is how much nasty stuff is actually sprayed on our greens, which is really bad because that's something you think you're eating that's really healthy and good for you, yet it can be covered in these hidden chemicals that we simply don't know about and can't see with our eyes. And that's why, well, that's one of the reasons why I nearly always recommend people growing greens for themselves. The value that you get from the space as well, where you can just keep coming back for more, is great. And that is why this net house has been such good value to us. Now, you don't have to build something as big and elaborate as this. You can just have small hoops which you put net over individual plants or growing areas. But if you do want to do something similar to us, then we did make a video on covering this net house, so check out that one. I will link it in here. So it's really only when you grow things like kale for yourself that you begin to realise how many other bugs and insects like to chomp on them too. So you start to understand what the farmers must be up against and what it takes to protect their crops when they're out in the open. And again, that's why this net house is our organic version of managing with a lot of these things. Now, I'm not saying that the net keeps out all of the bugs. Of course, I can actually see some little flea beetles on here now, and you may have noticed when I knock the plants, we still have some whitefly in here. But it does keep the worst of the chomping pests off of them, i.e. the cabbage white butterflies. So that is a really good start at looking after your brassicas. And you can probably notice in here that we quite heavily favour kale over heading cabbages. And that's just our personal preference, but I would recommend, if you do only have a small space to work with, then certainly the loose leaf, the kind of cut and come again kales will offer the best value for the space that you can give them. So let's take a closer look at what we're actually growing in here. So we've got our Brussels sprouts all along the back here that I sowed in May, and that should hopefully give us a harvest around Christmas time. And we've got two sorts of Brussels sprouts in here, a red Brussels sprout, which I've not tried before, so really excited about that, and then a standard green Brussels sprout. All along the front, I've got a whole row of our favourite black kale, or palm tree kale, or Cavolo Nero, I think is how you pronounce it. And this one is just beautiful. And I've been successionally sowing kale throughout the year really, and that's what gives us a constant supply of greens from this space. And over here you can see this is one of our Taunton Dean perennial kales, and this one was massive the other day. It was literally, it had fallen over and you could barely open the door. So I have given both of our perennial kales in here a really big cut back, and they should just reshoot and keep on growing. And then when I get a chance, I take cuttings of these and pot them on and then just keep the plants going. So this is a really good resource, and this makes a beautiful winter green, because when everything else slows down, these guys really keep on going. And over this side, all along the back row, is purple sprouting broccoli, and that we sowed in June, and that should give us a harvest from February to March time onwards. Some of these plants are really quite small, and that was one of the reasons why I needed to have a really good clear out in here. A lot of the older, bigger plants were just smothering some of these new plantings. So I really needed to clear it all up and let lots of light and more airflow in, so that the smaller plants can really get growing. And then over this side, we've got some older plants dotted through here, mainly curly kale, and then red vein kale, which will either be red Russian or scarlet, which I actually find with those, they're better keeping them as smaller plants for salad. I find that when I pick the bigger leaves of the red vein kale, it just goes limp really quickly. But curly kale, that is my other overall favourite kale. Another one of the perennial kales, and there's a little bit of a story behind what's in here. And I did have a perennial kale growing in here. It was just getting up to a nice size. And then we had a really windy day and it snapped and blew over. So I literally just took this branch here and dipped it in some rooting hormone and stuck it in the ground. And that was probably about 6 weeks ago. And as you can see, it's growing, it's doing great. So that's awesome. So hopefully that gives you a closer look at what we've got going in our net house and the value of having brilliant dark leafy greens all year round. So I really hope you've enjoyed taking a look at the greens that we grow here all year round, and that it's inspired you to grow some greens for yourself. If you've got any questions, let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, then let us know in the comments below. Give it a thumbs up and make sure that you're subscribed to our channel to see more videos like this. Thanks for watching today, and we'll catch you here again soon. Peace and plants.